And Catherine, we want to take us back now to the breaking news that we've been following this morning. The owners and some high-ranking executives of the New England Compounding Center have been arrested in connection to that deadly meningitis outbreak that took place in 2012. Our I-Team's Lauren Leamanczyk is now on the phone with us. Lauren, you've been covering this story for years. What can you tell us about these federal arrests and what they might mean?
Well, what we know is that federal authorities had hoped to bring charges against the leaders of NECC by the end of this year, and it appears that that is what is happening right now. Our crews have captured video of police presence at the homes of the owners of New England Compounding Center. And this morning I have been able to confirm that among those under arrest are Barry Cadden, who was the prime operator of New England Compounding Center. You will remember that he is the one who testified before Congress, refusing to give information before Congress at those hearings, and pleading the fifth, his right not to self-incriminate. Also under arrest, Greg Canigliaro and his wife. Both of they were deeply involved in New England Compounding Center. This is a family affair. All of the owners are related at New England Compounding Center. Now we know at least 3 of them are under arrest this morning, presumably being brought to the federal courthouse today, where we expect that there will be indictments handed down. Now, as you know, this was a huge outbreak. Hundreds of people died, many more sick, including some in our area. There were a number of victims who received injections from NECC up in New Hampshire, people who have been very sick since then. I've talked to a lot of those victims over the years, and what they've told me is one of their frustrations is they feel like no one has ever really been held accountable. There has been a $134 million lawsuit agreed to, but with the number of victims out there, it really may not mean much money for a lot of the victims. And many of them had told me over the years that one of the things that really frustrated them was that the owners of this company, who generated massive wealth while distributing these compounded medications, had never apologized, had never been brought to court, had never been charged criminally, and never been held accountable. It appears that that is what is happening now, and I think a lot of victims will be happy to see that. So what we know right now is that arrests are ongoing this morning. There are federal agents arresting a number of people linked to this massive meningitis outbreak at New England Compounding Center. Among those arrested this morning, Barry Cadden, the most visible person linked to this outbreak. He is one of the owners. Greg Canigliaro, one of the owners, and Greg Canigliaro's wife. And our photographers did capture video of police presence at their homes in just west of Boston. So we'll be following this story all day. We do expect some information today from the U.S. Attorney, get more information about what exactly they are charged with in federal court. We do expect that these will be criminal charges linked to the deaths of so many people in this meningitis outbreak. Catherine?
All right. And Lauren, again, you gave a little bit sense of the scope of how many people were affected by this and just the reaction that we're probably going to be hearing from some of those victims today. Do you plan on reaching out to them?
Yes, I have been in touch with several of them, even in recent weeks, and they're struggling. Many of them, even if they weren't those who were deadly ill, they have dealt with headaches. Many have been unable to work because of fatigue, because of pain. They haven't had clear minds. There's this fungal meningitis attacks the body in so many ways, and so these people have really been living a nightmare for the past 2 years since they were injected with these drugs. And it's important to remember, most of these people went to their doctors because they were dealing with some sort of chronic pain. They thought that these injections would, in fact, make them better. And almost instantly, they described feeling just an immense amount of pain at the injection site. And since then, they've undergone spinal taps and tests and just a variety of symptoms. So for them, it was always frustrating that as they lived these lives, many of them in deep financial straits because they're not able to work, the owners of this company went on, at least in their minds, living their lives in massive homes. They had generated this wealth, and it was frustrating to these victims. Now, of course, indictments and arrests are not going to make them feel better. It's not going to take away their pain or take away their fungal meningitis. But I have gotten the sense from some of them that to hold someone accountable for all of this pain and suffering will help them, at least emotionally.
All right. Thank you very much, Lauren. This was an enormous story that we've been following for years. Tremendous work by you and by all of our BZ crews spread out across the area. Again, to recap, federal authorities are making arrests of people linked to the New England Compounding Center, which was linked to that massive fungal meningitis outbreak almost 2 years ago.